I agree. I liked our FaceTime date.
I did too. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Okay, speaking of dates, we're on a date with you guys. Hi.
You're paying.
Thank you for listening to our commercial. That was before this or after. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Okay, cute. Yeah.
Half the time, I know that we have ads turned on, but half the time when I listen, I don't get any ads. So I'm just like, well, I hope they're there.
Yeah, I don't either. But Brian says because we have the premium account. And I'm like, oh, premium account. You know? We have the family account.
We do too.
That's probably why. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, so this episode. Oh wait, I'm Sam.
I could be Hayley. We don't know for sure.
What is
allegedly? I'm Hayley.
Oh my God, get out of my head. I was about to say, what did lawyers say? Allegedly. Allegedly, they're Hayley and I'm Sam. And this episode is going to be about plus size pregnancies. We thought it was like a fun subject. Well, it's like fun and not fun. I'm just going to let you know, we're going to be talking about pregnancy. We're going to be talking about loss. We're going to talk about treatment, good and bad. So here's your content warning just right out the gate. If this is a tough subject for you, please just go to our next episode. Or previous episodes, because this one has a content warning. We're going to talk about some tough stuff, but some good stuff too.
Period.
But before we get into that, we're going to do the highs and lows. Hayley, what were your highs and lows since we've last recorded?
I don't even know how long it's been since. When did we record last?
It's been like a month. We like took a month off, and then we were like, "Hey guys, we're back," and then we took another month off. Yeah. Hayley went on a whole trip, like a whole adventure. Things have happened. So much has happened.
So much. Yeah.
So much has happened.
I think we should, before we get into that, we should say that moving forward, or like until we do something differently, we're going to be posting bi-monthly.
Yes.
Once every fortnight. So every other week.
Yes.
For those of you that think fortnight is something else.
I did.
Yeah. What?
I did think it was something else, so thank you for educating me.
The fuck is that? Oh, it's my phone alarm.
Oh my gosh.
Jeebus Christ. Let's see. My highs, I did go on a wee trip. A week-long trip to California. Got to see my favorite sister-in-law. My two favorite sisters-in-law, in fact. Yes. It was really great to see them. They moved into a new house, and we were the first visitors. So,
yeah, it's good vibes. Good vibes.
Yes, it was very cool. It was very hot because there was a heat wave, and it was like 90s and in the hundreds most of the time until like a day and a half before we left. But we made the best of it, and we had a really good time. We saw a lot of pretty stuff, ate a lot of good food. I missed San Diego Mexican food.
Oh. Is it good?
Well, yeah. San Diego is like 10 miles away from the U.S.-Mexico border.
Oh.
Like the food there is banging. All the food is good, but the Mexican food especially is banging.
Okay, so I get San Diego and San Francisco mixed up.
Yeah.
I just now realized where you were.
Yep.
I
don't think Jack's probably isn't going to listen to this episode, but that kind of ties into a story that was funny, but then he got upset, so it wasn't funny anymore. We were at the Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles, and there's this big overlook where you can see like a lot of the city. And as you were looking out, you could see like clumps of like buildings, like skyscrapers. It'd be like one, then there'd be one further down. Then he looked at the furthest one away and was like, "Is that San Francisco?" And
I love him.
We all got on him a little too hard, and then he felt dumb and got upset. We all just like whipped our heads and looked at him in unison. So, you know what? Not geography is not everyone's strong suit, and that's okay.
It's not. It's not. It's not.
Just like anything beyond like mental math and basic math is not my strong suit.
You know
So,
what? Yeah.
that's why I don't do that. But I can calculate a tip, I'll tell you that much.
Same.
Oh god. Other highs. Started a new season of pinball. I'm pretty decent, pretty fun. Started a new video game. I've been playing Stardew Valley.
Cute.
I have been obsessed with it. Yes, very cute.
Okay.
It's like, it looks kind of like an old game. Like the graphics look really pixely, kind of like an old school game. But basically, the premise is you leave the city and are taking care of what used to be your grandpa's farm. So you're like growing crops and foraging for stuff, selling it for gold, mining shit, like stuff that, like any other cozy game, stuff that I would hate doing in real life.
Yeah, it was like, it's giving Farmville, but like
it's
a
cooler.
Different... Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cooler, everybody, cooler.
I mean, it's a cozy game. I love me a cozy game. That's really the only kind of game I like.
Yeah.
At least for now. I've agreed with Jax to like broaden my horizons once I feel more comfortable moving in two different directions, because I am not good at moving like up and down while also moving side to side, like in a more advanced game.
Right.
Half the time my gun is pointed at the ground or at the sky, and I'm just like fighting for my life, trying to aim at the right spot.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair statement. Gaming's hard.
Gaming is hard.
Gaming is hard. That's like the same thing of like when I was trying to learn how to drive a stick. I know you know how to drive a stick, but I don't know how to drive a stick. So when I was trying to drive a stick, I was like, I don't know how to drive a stick. Like,
it's a lot.
Just can't. My brain just literally is like, no. Like, no, when you've been defeated. I'm like, I'm defeated. Goodbye. By this little tiny truck.
It takes a lot of work. I think the main reason I really learned how to drive it is because that was the car my dad bought me when I was 17, and it was like, I learned how to drive it or I don't go anywhere in it.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
You would not believe how many stoplights I stalled out at when I first got it. Like fighting for my life.
Yeah, that would be
like
me.
Trying to leave the high school parking lot.
Oh my god, see. It's a no for me. It's a no for me.
One of those like formative embarrassments, you know?
Yeah. Built character that you didn't need, but yeah, sure. Yeah.
I'm built Ford tough.
Oh my god.
It's funny because all I've driven is Fords, because that's all my dad has bought me, and I am a baby and I haven't bought my own car yet.
You know what? You're allowed to be a baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then a baby bi. I'm weird today. I'm sorry. Lows. I killed my work laptop while on the Great Vacation.
Murdered it.
Yeah, because I'm an idiot and was like, yeah, I'll put my water bottle that has never leaked before in the same backpack as this laptop. And it got damp. And I looked at it and wrapped it in my jacket and was like, it'll probably be fine. It was on the outside. Nope. It's dead.
My god.
I am on a Windows, and that is harder than you would think. It's very difficult. Nothing really makes sense still, but I'm just doing my best. And other lows. My tummy's been kind of messed up like the last week or so.
No.
Yeah. I don't. It could be because I'm eating a lot of like cucumbers. I've gotten on that. I'm craving a whole cucumber.
Oh my god! Sometimes you have to eat a whole cucumber. God,
it's good. I mean, I didn't realize cucumbers were so versatile, but I did the one that's kind of like an everything salmon bagel, and ate some of that earlier. And I feel like all the cream cheese might have fucked with me.
Yeah, that's a lot of dairy.
Oh yeah, but it's good.
Is it good?
I mean, yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I'll have to try it.
There's so many recipes.
Yeah, they come up on my For You page a lot.
Probably because I'm liking a lot of
Well,
them.
I'm just like, I'm terrified of the device they use, so
You just gotta go slow.
I want to say yes, but
Don't
yeah.
cut with reckless abandon like I see these people doing. Because I have cut the top of my thumb off with a mandolin slicer before.
Hayley, stop.
Not like the whole thing, just like just the tip.
Oh.
But that is also why my what, just the tip?
It's like,
no, we got this other more advanced mandolin slicer and it came with like one of those cut resistant gloves.
yes.
So I just use that if I'm really afraid.
That's
but
smart.
I trust myself with a cucumber.
Yeah.
So I think that about wraps it up for me. What about you?
Highs would be I was able to announce my tarot book coming out. Yeah.
Wow.
No longer a secret, even though like it was so obvious.
Was it?
I feel like it was like a big project with a due date. You know, like I'm like book. They've already received some pre-orders, which is like so excited. I'm like so excited about it.
Oh shit, I'm gonna have to pre-order it.
I
blanked on that part.
Did you blank? Oh my god, no. I announced it one day and then they literally opened it up for pre-orders the next day. And they were like, this is really early, but we're gonna go ahead and do this. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I'll put the link in the episode description for you all to go pre-order my tarot book.
If you want to.
If you feel like you want to and you like tarot, this is the book for you.
If you really love tarot, you can also be a part of another venture of Sam's, which is called...
Oh, okay. So I also started a monthly membership group called The Garden.
That's right.
That one is not just about tarot. It's about astrology. It's about self-development. So I do like mentorship in there and we do rituals and we have guest speakers. Like I literally have a guest speaker from November to February. Every single meeting has a guest speaker.
And you meet how often?
We meet twice a month.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I may have to extend it and start meeting weekly, but for right now, I'm just going to do twice a month because I can't do too much.
Don't overcommit yourself yet.
I'm not. That's what I'm saying. But that's another high. So we have the book. We have the membership. It was my birthday.
That's right.
33. 33. So that's exciting. Things have been really good. Really busy, but really good.
Did you do anything for your birthday? I know the hurricane might have messed with things a little bit.
Yeah, the hurricane messed with things. It was really rainy here. Of course, like luckily, we did not get damaged. South Georgia got a lot of damage. Florida got damaged. North Carolina got damaged. But we were thankfully not hurt or harmed in any way. But we just did, like, we went to Texas Roadhouse.
Nice.
And then we came home and did craft night, like a little crafty.
That's cool. What'd you make?
I made I painted a wood slab.
And
I did like these two little ghost witches that were summoning their ghost friends out of the like woods. They had a little cauldron in the middle.
That's so cute. Did you just come up with it or was it like a paint by number type thing?
Oh no, it was a Pinterest idea. I looked up
that's cool.
Ghost spooky cute, and they were like, this is cute. And I did the summoning friends. They just had like 3 ghost witches, but I was like, I'm gonna have them summoning their friends because it's Halloween soon, you know?
Yeah,
just something cute.
Your favorite time of the year?
My favorite time of the year, yes. I will be doing a promo event on the 19th of this month, or of October, for my fellow authors through Llewellyn, but I'm going to promote my book as well at that event. And then I'm doing like a tarot reading event on Samhain, which normally I don't do anything on Halloween. It's like I don't, but this is at the old job where I was at HR. So
Oh.
I thought it'd be so fun to like go there as like me now for everyone to see and be like, the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
How did they get like a tarot thing happening at your old corporate job?
oh my gosh, every year they throw a Halloween party, and so normally they have like a psychic there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Normally they have like a psychic or some sort of like event, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like this year, because my sister works in management there, she was like, hey, if you guys want an event like person, like Sam does tarot, like, and they're like professionally, and she's like, no, like professionally does tarot, like has a book coming out about it, and they were like, sign her up. So like they're gonna pay me to go there. And
Excellent.
yeah, I know. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to show up. They're gonna be like, what just happened? What happened? Because when I first worked there, I only had one tattoo. Like
Oh
that was
man.
it. You know what I mean? Like there. Oh, I think I had two. I think I had my music symbol, and then I think I had like my "I love you" bushel and pack, which was big tattoos for them. That's like a big tattoo. But now it's like my chest, my neck, my stomach, my hands. Like they were like, what the fuck? Um,
Hell yeah.
I'm excited about that. I am pumped about that. I'm not gonna lie. So that's a high. So kind of like a mid. I'm gonna say a mid. I did start back on a GLP-1.
Oh, okay.
I was able to get approved for Mounjaro again. For non-diabetes use. So people with diabetes type 2 are prescribed Ozempic. So I'm not taking this from anyone, okay? I just want everyone to know that. No one, I don't want to hear it in the comments. I don't want to like someone to be like, oh my God, you're taking it from people that need it. No, like my blood work was able to get Mounjaro prescribed for PCOS. So I'm very happy about the PCOS part. Kind of neutral mid about being back on a GLP-1. So we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are you neutral mid about it? Why would you do it if you're not into it, I guess?
Because it kind of goes back to like when we talk about like the roller coaster, like the weight loss roller coaster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like when I was on Mounjaro before, it helped me get to a very great weight. And then the minute I got off of it, I just started increasing again in my weight. And at that time, and now, like, I'm so much more conscientious of how I feel with more weight on me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not able to ignore it anymore. I think for a long time, I was trying not to like pay attention in a way of like protecting myself, almost like being numb to it.
Mm-hmm.
And now like my weight does affect my mobility. It does affect like my back. It obviously, my fertility is very much affected by my weight, my menstrual cycle, all that stuff. So when I got back on it, it was like a decision to get more conscientious about it, which in a way is triggering.
Because you have to pay attention to it again.
Because I have to pay attention to it again. Because I was in this like season of like living my life and just being in a state of like self-acceptance almost. And when it's so hard when I got back on the GLP-1 to not shift immediately into toxic diet culture, into, you know what I mean? You know the shift that it takes you from. So I think I'm very neutral mid, because it's like, okay, how can I maintain this like positive mindset and this self-acceptance while also being conscientious of my weight and realizing that like it is going to decrease, but not because I hate being fat, but because being fat is directly impacting my menstrual cycle and stuff like that. So it's just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Would it be fair to say that it's not that you necessarily don't want to be fat, you want to be less fat?
Yes. I think that that's a fair statement. I would even take like if I could have high fertility, if I could have the same like high mobility, and be able to not have any type of body pain, while being fat, then I would be fine. Like, I would not seek the GLP-1 or any type of weight loss. Unfortunately, my menstrual cycle is directly affected with my weight.
Yeah.
And I'm back at like the heaviest I've been in a really long, like, years.
Oh,
And
really?
I haven't had a period in over, it has to be almost 2 years now, which is extremely unhealthy.
Yeah. I remember it stopped when you were on Mounjaro the first time after you got off of it, and it just never came back.
Right. Like, I had the menstrual cycle. I'm trying to be G-rated. I had the menstrual cycle for like 3 months straight. And I was like, I'm gonna die here. And then it disappeared completely. So
weird.
I would like to have a healthy menstrual cycle. I would like to have fertility, of course. So we made the decision to seek the medical help for it. But it just, again, makes it like, I think the having to be conscious about my weight and having to sit in some of the triggers that it brings up instead of just being able to live my life as a bigger person, which is already like a huge step for a lot of people. Now it's like, okay, now I have to make sure I'm getting enough protein. I do have to make sure I'm not losing muscle mass, and I do have to make sure I'm continuing to be active. But I have to maintain the mindset of, I'm doing this as self-devotion. I'm not doing this to look a certain way. And it's so hard not to get into that mindset when you get on like a medication. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I totally get where you're coming from with it.
Yeah. It feels very mid-low almost, which is like, normally people would be like, yes, like skinny. But it's like, no, like, this is very, very much different for me.
I get that. I mean, it is kind of like bittersweet because, like, on one hand you will feel better, but on the other, like, it sucks to have to do that to feel better.
Right.
And it's also, I'm sure it's a lot to like commit to it, knowing that like if you stop, your weight could potentially go back up. It probably would.
Yes.
So like the long-term aspect of that, I could see why you'd just be like, about it.
Yeah, exactly. Very much so.
Yeah.
But that's a good transition because my insurance doesn't cover it. They just have a program. So financially it's also a huge commitment. But speaking of insurance, let's talk about plus size pregnancies and how insurance is awful. No, I'm just kidding.
No, insurance is awful.
Insurance is the worst.
My insurance right now with my job sucks.
Does it?
Yeah, because I'm a contractor, so my insurance is through the staffing agency. And it's like the bare minimum, if that.
Really?
Yeah. It's awful. I racked up a lot of medical debt just in a few months whenever I was trying to figure out that stomach pain. Like, it's not good.
Yeah.
So that part, that's another low, I guess, but it's kind of like it's been a low. But I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Because like I've gone back and forth a little bit. Like, I wish I could have the benefits of GLP-1 as far as like helping ADHD and helping like the addiction aspect without the weight loss. Like, I wish I could just have it in like a little pill.
Yeah, God.
Like a little separate it from that, because it's like I'm not trying to lose weight.
Right.
Like, I'm okay with where I'm at. But it would be really nice to like have my dopamine regulated. Like, one of my friends was on Ozempic for a while, actually, I think. And she's ADHD, but she can't get the medication for it because her psychiatrist thinks she doesn't have ADHD, even though she was diagnosed before. But the reduction in her like dopamine seeking behaviors around like food and also impulsive spending, she's like, it's crazy how much it helped.
Oh, it's like night and day.
And me like looking at my credit card debt, I'm like, should I do that?
Right. Right? No, it literally is night and day.
Yeah.
It's the worst. Like, it's the worst and the best. Like, you can tell for me, I can tell the minute I started it because I was so productive. I have a content schedule. So my business is booming. Like, it's so, the shift is so insane from like being stuck in paralysis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like the constant like noise that I had, and the like, I don't know how to describe it, honestly. It's like I'm not just productive, but I am satisfied with my life more than when I'm off it. When I'm just like, I'm almost like numbed up when I'm off of it, which is really weird to say, but I don't know what it's doing to my brain, but I do enjoy it.
I think that it would be really great if they continue to explore that, because I feel like it could really help a lot of people for reasons that have nothing to do with weight.
For sure.
But yeah, whenever it first came out, I was super skeptical of it, and I feel like some people still like overprescribe it, and it can still like not be safe for everybody.
Absolutely.
And doctors shouldn't just throw that at a fat person. But I would say my perspective on it has softened just based on helping with like ADHD and that kind of thing.
Right.
I wish that I could afford to try it at this point, because Adderall sucks.
Does Adderall suck? It sucked when I took it back when I was like,
it just doesn't
13,
help.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to get back on Vyvanse because of the shortage, and my insurance doesn't cover it anyway. So I'm stuck on generic Adderall. And like, it does okay. It's like it's half-hearted. Like, it does all right, but it's knowing how it used to be.
Right.
And this now, I'm just like, this sucks, and I'm still hungry all the time.
Right.
So, anywho, whoop-de-woo.
Yeah. I mean, insurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
We did have a story from someone on TikTok that shared about their plus-size pregnancy.
Yes.
Let's share theirs first, because I might get on a tangent. So
getting into the actual meat of the episode now that we've been recording for 30 minutes. All right. So I'm not going to use this person's name, but it says, during the first appointment for my second pregnancy, the OB told me my body would prioritize the fetus. So if I, quote, played my cards right and ate less, I would lose weight. I think about it still all the time.
Wow.
Yeah. They say in another comment under it, that appointment is 100% how my partner learned that fat phobia isn't just about people hurting my feelings. My OB radicalized my husband. Love that for him.
You know what? Love that for him. Because sometimes they have to see it. You got to be there to see it. You know what I mean? You got to be there to see it.
Yeah. They really do.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. Okay. So I'll like share my story, summarize it a little bit. We have a little bit of time. I struggled with infertility pretty much my entire life. I didn't start my menstrual cycle until I was 18. I was diagnosed with PCOS at 16. They weren't sure if I was actually going to start or not, but at 16 they do what they normally do, and they prescribe birth control for PCOS. Back in the day they did. So they prescribed birth control. I absolutely hated it. Not only did it just make me feel like I wanted to die, but it also gave me the worst acne, and my Libra could not handle it. Could not. I was already a big person. I couldn't be a big person with acne in high school. Like, I just wouldn't allow myself.
Yeah.
So I just didn't take it, because I was like, I'm not menstruating anyways. And they were like, this is going to start your period. It did not start my period. Shock. So I started when I was 18, and I went years. Like, I wouldn't, some people with like irregular periods, they're like, oh, some months I bleed, some months I don't, or sometimes I'll go like 6 months and then I'll have one. Like, no, like I would go years, like 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, like years.
Wow.
And they said that's that can happen with PCOS because you have like cyst on your whatever ovaries and stuff like that. So I had my first like pregnancy. It wasn't. I was pregnant for like, it had to be like I was 6 weeks when I found out. I was like 6 weeks and 5 days when, you know, the body did what the body does.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really young. I was 18. And then
Oh wow.
it was wild. Blessing in disguise though for that guy, for both of us. That was okay.
Mm-hmm.
That one was okay. And then when Brian and I got married, I was like hyper focused because I was 20. We've been married for 8 years. I'm 33. I think I got married to him at 25. I don't know if the mathing, guys. I don't know how to do
does math. It maths.
Okay. I believe I was 25. So I was like, I don't know if it's just like a Southern thing, but like down here in Georgia, if you're 25 with no kids, like you are a grandmother. Like you might as well like just give up.
Yeah, it's definitely. I would say it's a Southern thing and like a small town thing.
Okay.
Because it's people pop them out early where I'm from too.
Yeah, like don't finish high school around here, and that's completely normalized. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So by 25, when I got married, I was like, we have to get pregnant before I'm 27, or like I'm never getting pregnant. And so we went through hell. We went through literal hell trying to get pregnant. Like I did fertility, like hormone therapy, which if you've been on hormone therapy, it's the fucking worst. It drives you crazy. You have like, you feel like you're not yourself. And at that point, this was just my OB trying to help me. So I was lucky to have found an OB that like actually didn't care about my weight. She was really, I don't know if it was like a Southern thing, but she was like, oh honey, like I've had 6 kids, I'm a big girl, like we'll get you pregnant. And I was like, hell yeah.
Love that.
Because all I wanted, you guys, was to get pregnant. And I still, of course, would like to have a child, but hence why the GLP-1. But, you know, it's not like the main focus anymore. The main focus is a healthy menstrual cycle. So she put the scare in me, basically. It was like, you gotta bleed, because if you don't bleed, you're just like at risk for uterine cancer. Like, we gotta get you bleeding. I'm like, okay. That's literally what she sounds like, by the way, guys. Like, that's if you knew this daughter, nailed it. Okay. So she puts me on hormone treatments. She puts me on progesterone. If you've had to put progesterone on your body, it's the worst. That's like, people are like recommending that wild yam cream. Like,
I've seen that.
Dude, it's progesterone and it's awful. Like,
why is it explain to the class? I'm curious. Why is it awful to put on?
So your body naturally produces progesterone at a certain time during your cycles, okay? So if you're just using that all the time, you're messing up your natural cycle. You're literally messing it up. So I don't recommend. That's why sometimes they're like, oh, use it for 3 weeks and make sure you don't use it for 1 week. And it's like, that's their way of being like, you're in sync with your cycle, because the week you're not using it, you're supposed to be, you know, bleeding. And it's like, no, like not everybody knows their timing. Like not everybody knows where they are in their phases of their cycle.
Literally.
So no. You know what I mean? And they don't like say that. They're just like, it's yams. And I'm like, okay, but like it's literally producing the same thing as progesterone. Like it's literally, you know what I mean? As far as I know.
Pause real quick, from someone who dabbled in herbalism a little bit. It is never just whatever the plant is. Yes. You need to do your research.
God, yeah.
You need to make sure there are no contraindications with medicine that you take, because something like St. John's wort, you can't take that if you're already on antidepressants. And it can also impact hormonal birth control, I'm pretty sure. But yeah. Just look it up. It is never just because it's natural doesn't mean that it's all good and there will be no issues.
Right.
Continue.
No, I think that was so important. So yeah. So basically, when I saw that going viral on TikTok, I was like, dude, like, it's giving progesterone. So when
bunch of people about to get pregnant.
Like, I'm just like, I'm worried for you. Like, I'm like, if this is what, you know what I mean? Like, because they're like, oh, it's so great with PCOS. Like, I started my menstrual cycle. I'm like, yeah, bitch, like, you literally fucking ovulated. Like, you need to be careful out here in these streets, you know?
Yeah.
So, but progesterone, it like when you're on it, especially an increased dose for your body, like
Mhm.
it literally made me just like a raging fucking bitch. Like I was a bitch, and I was such a bitch to everybody because I was not only on progesterone, I was on other hormones, and I was crying and angry and just like the worst version of myself, like in order to get pregnant. And then on top of not getting pregnant just makes it even worse, right?
Right.
So, because like when you're trying to get pregnant, it's not like, oh, romantic, like let's just casually have sex. It's like, no, this is the window. This is the hour I'm ovulating. Come in me. Like, it's not
very much like, I don't care if you don't want to do it.
Literally, like, take your fucking pants off. And like, that's just not it. There's no like love in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because like, you know, everyone waits like the year, and then they try naturally, and then they're like, oh no, we didn't for that year, so like now we're gonna go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, here's a bunch of pills and a bunch of shots, and we'll get you pregnant, all right, we'll get you knocked up. And so we didn't. So then we went to the fertility clinic. Now, the fertility clinic is one of the worst places to go. I don't know why. It's just so icky. They tested Brian's sperm. The worst. Like, that process is the worst.
That process is the worst?
It's like so traumatic for men. Like, I
really?
I don't think I would normally say that to like, because like men, but like I feel bad for men that have to get their sperm tested like at the clinic. Like, it's not a fun time for them.
I mean, no, I know it's definitely not fun. I know like what goes on, or at least what should go on.
Right.
But it is the easier route. Is it just because of the environment that they have to do that in?
Yeah, I think it's just the environment. Like, no one, it's not like they're walking in being like, hey, you know what I mean? It's like, you talk to this lady who is super clinical. Your partner can't be in there. You're in this strange place. There's tons of noises everywhere. Like, it's just not like everyone knows what, you know what I mean? Everyone knows.
Right.
Like, it's just like awful.
I see now.
So traumatic. And then like after, she was like, well, you know, if we can't get a sample, like we'll just like do this. You can just do this at home. And I'm like, why wouldn't you offer this for all men to do this at home?
Right.
Why the fuck are we here? It's better in the office, whatever.
Yeah. Keeping it. Sorry, go ahead.
I guess, yeah, keeping it fresh.
Yeah.
So we're in this lady's office. She's giving us the options. She's testing everything, and like, she sits down and like looks over, and then she goes, "Well, I'm gonna be honest, Miss Hicks. You're gonna have to lose like 200 pounds."
Huh?
I was only like, at this point, I had to only be like, I was probably like 300 or like 290.
So she wanted you to be 90 pounds.
She wanted me to be 100, maybe she said like 180. I can't remember. It was super fucked up. But she wanted me to be, my BMI, I'm supposed to weigh 105 to 110 pounds for my height.
BMI is bullshit, so she needs to go back to school.
It was insane, though. It was crazy. And she was like, and also, you know, we're going to need like $2,000 a month.
What?
And that
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. And that was like the payment plan for like if we needed to do IVF. If we like, IVF is like $10,000 to $100,000.
Oh, okay. IVF,
like,
that makes more sense.
Yeah, like it was crazy just to be in the program. Though it was gonna be like $2,000, like for access to their assistants, their care team, their medications, their processes was like $2,000.
Predatory.
It was extremely predatory. And I'm like 25 and my husband's only 27. And we were told like, you know, like I'm running out of time. My eggs aren't like, they're not the healthiest, like, because I'm fat.
Oh my God.
Like it was like literally sitting there listening to like the worst thing someone can say about you. Like, as like, if you're like a cisgendered woman and have been raised in the South and like your fertility equals your value down here, like to be told that you are not valuable because you're not fertile and you're fat and you're a failure and your husband's can't believe your husband's with you, you're running out of time, you're poor. Like, it was the worst day of, I think, both of our lives. Like, one of the worst days. It was awful.
Jesus.
It was so bad. So after that, we decided that we were just like done. Like I had put my body through enough for a year. We had been trying for 2 years at this point. Like it was like, if it happens, it happens. Like whatever.
Right.
And then we randomly got pregnant in 2000. I think it was 2022. It was so random. It was the most. It like, I woke up and was like, my nipples have been so rock solid for like weeks.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's so weird. And I peed on a stick and I was pregnant. I went out and told Brian I still have the video of like on the camera, the like camera footage of me like telling him, and he like, it was like he couldn't process it. He was like, what do you mean? And I was like, dude, like I think I'm pregnant. Like I think I'm actually pregnant. And he's like, what do you mean? like you know what I mean? Like,
psych.
Say psych. Like what, we can't get pregnant.
Yeah.
So I was fucking pumped. I was mad that he wasn't happy. Like it wasn't that he wasn't happy. He was just like, he was like
shocked.
It was in shock. He was in shock. Yeah. Because we'd gone through so much and it had been years. Like we were just like done with it, you know? So I was like fucking pumped. But there's always like that fear of like your first pregnancy, especially when you've been in the fertility game, when you've been in the forums, you've been in the community. Like, you know, the first one normally don't stick. Like, just your body's just warming up to what it's supposed to do naturally, and sometimes it's just not going to stick. So I had that fear, just like deep rooted.
Yeah.
But we made it to 8 weeks, and I had gotten an ultrasound. We had seen the heartbeat. We were so happy. I have video of my mom crying. Everyone in my family was really nice. The medical doctors were not nice. They were not. They were like, it was very much giving like, hey, the weight that you have, you're immediately high risk. Like, you shouldn't do anything. Like, you need to just like sit in bed for 40 weeks because you're so heavy. Like, this is crazy. Which is like all my blood work was fine. Like my like all of it came back fine. If anything, I should have been like walking and exercising, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
But they like scared me basically. And we didn't have insurance, so I was having to see like really shitty doctors, and we couldn't get on insurance. We were trying to like financially plan for the baby because nothing was going to be covered. So the loss happened right on the 8th week, like 2 days after we hit the 8-week mark, and I immediately knew what was happening. You know, they talk about the emotional. Everyone online talks about the emotional side of miscarrying, and like they're absolutely valid and right. But I wasn't prepared for the physical. No one really talks about the physical. Physical is awful. Okay. It is so fucking painful because your uterus has already kind of extended. So you're just weeks of just like your uterus cramping back down. Just fucking weeks of it. It is awful. Your abdomen you're in so much pain. You can't lay down. You can't stand up. Like, I had to be in a recliner for like literally a week and just be in pain. It was awful. No one talks about it. Like,
no,
literally.
I legit didn't know that until you told me when it was happening.
Oh my God. It was
it's like, duh, of course it is, but it never occurred to me.
Same. I was so worried about the emotional side of it. I didn't even think about the trauma my body was going through.
Yeah.
And it was like so traumatic. Like, my poor body was in like absolute like shock. Luckily, I was able to, of course, remove everything naturally. God forbid, with the laws now. And we like had a ceremony and did what we needed to do for the grieving process. But medically, there was no assistance. There was, when we went to the hospital and I was like, hey, I'm miscarrying, they were like, okay. And I was like, okay, well, like, can you make sure that like everything's out and like I'm okay? Because I don't, like, I may need a DNC. Like, my mom had to have a DNC after she gave fucking birth to me.
Real?
Yeah, her placenta broke inside of her. And they didn't do a D&C. Fun story, they didn't do a D&C. So she came home and her body still thought she was in labor. So she was just bleeding uncontrollably.
Oh my God.
It was so bad, Hayley. This is why we did a content warning. It was so bad that it was shooting out of her, hitting the floor, and blood was splattering all over the bathroom. To when the fireman, she had to call 911. She was literally dying. To when the fireman came to get her, to take her to the hospital, this dude was like, ma'am, my wife has had 7 children, and I have never seen what just happened in there. It looks like a murder scene. This is the worst this is the worst I've ever seen in my entire career as a firefighter. Like, she was going to die if she hadn't called 911.
Yeah.
It was wild. My dad was out of town doing God knows what. My grandma came over to watch us kids and like cleaned up the bathroom for her.
Damn.
Because she's just a sweetie pie. But like my mom was like, you legit almost killed me. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So yeah. So you not getting everything out can not only kill you.
Yeah.
You know. But I was like, okay. So make sure everything's out. And they're like, well, if you develop a fever after 3 days, come back. And I was like, oh yay, like when I am about to die, like that's fine, cute. And then they'll do like an MRI or whatever they said they were gonna do, a scan to make sure everything, or ultrasound, I don't know what they do. So it wasn't handled the best. They literally gave me no pain medicine. It was awful. The treatment was awful, and I know it was fat phobia because my precious angel baby friend that did have 2 babies was treated completely different. And when she experienced a loss, it was like, I don't know, we went to the same hospital. Like, I don't know what she did or said. She's just standard size, but she got the best care, like the best treatment. They did everything for her. When she first found out she was pregnant, they were like, oh my God, like her medical team was amazing. My medical team was like, you better not move, like, or you're gonna lose it. You know, it was literally awful.
That's horrible. I'm so sorry.
It was awful, but the one thing that did come out of it that Brian and I still like think about is like it just happened randomly. Like, and I was like 320 pounds when I got pregnant, and like confirmed pregnancy. Like we saw the actual, you know, the little bean itself. So that was nice. That like took like the pressure off almost of like feeling.
But it is less about the weight.
It is less about the weight. My blood work was fine. Like literally, I was so hard on myself when I went through the loss because I was like, I should have gone to my doctor sooner. Okay. But here in Georgia, doctors will not see you until you're 8 weeks. Like it's rare to get seen by 6 weeks here. I had to go to a free Christian place to get an ultrasound at 6 weeks, and I still had to go through the whole thing of like, they're like, save the baby. I'm like, I'm not gonna abort the baby, give me the free ultrasound. Like it was like a whole thing. I had to go through hoops to get this free ultrasound because my doctor would not see me until 8 weeks. Like my OBGYN was like, come in at 8 weeks. And so when we lost it, I was like, if I had gone in sooner and gotten progesterone, maybe I would have saved the baby. And she was like, no, like that's not what this is about. She was like, the only thing that causes a miscarriage is your body is like, something's wrong in this DNA. Something's wrong. This isn't the right batch. You know what I mean? She's like, it has nothing to do with like what you're eating, you know, during that early, basically, like, unless I was like doing like meth, you know, like she was so nice. Like my OBGYN was really nice to me about being like, you did nothing wrong.
Good.
Literally, it's a chromosome thing. Like your body, it's a science thing. Your body was like, nope, 1 + 1 is supposed to equal 2. This equals 6. This is a bad batch. Like, and so that did make me feel better. Because my OB was the only one that was really nice to me, but I still kind of wish she had seen me earlier. Of course, you know, but everyone else, like the hospital was really shitty. The fertility clinic was really shitty. There's always like that stigma about being a bigger person with a standard size partner. Like,
it's so shitty.
You know, like, are you sure you don't want kids? You know, you sure you want to marry her? She's big. You want kids? You know what I mean? I'm like, every big person I know has children except for me. So be so for real. Like,
I don't know if like I'm starting to wonder if people are just like afraid of me or something because they have no one has ever said that to me or in
really?
front of me. They've
Oh my
never
God.
said anything to me about like being in a mixed size relationship or like not even said anything to Jax like, "Oh, are you sure? Like she's kind of fat." But God help anyone that says
God.
that about me or somebody that I love like within earshot.
Yeah.
That
I
is
don't know.
insane.
I
I
just
don't
think,
go ahead.
well, for a while there, I was like surrounded by like my grandma's people, right? Like elderly women, church women, stuff like that.
Mm,
So you know how they are. Like, you know, when you go to a baby shower for a friend and like you bring your partner and they're like, you know what I mean? Like,
y'all bring your baby showers or not just for the femmes down there?
God, not anymore. It's like a whole thing. Ever since gender reveals are a thing, it's like everybody comes. Like,
Huh.
it's no longer, which is fine, but still,
Yeah.
you know, nah.
Wild. Absolutely wild. Your camera's frozen. I don't know if that's my problem or yours.
I'm not getting any notifications, so I'm gonna say your internet.
Actually, that's a you problem.
Actually, I mean, you presented the question. Pause. Oh wait, no, cut. What's
No,
our word?
help.
Like, what's our word for Riverside? Um, but yeah, so that was my experience. Feel free to share your experience down below. If you are a plus size mama, leave a comment, leave some hearts, leave some likes, give us a 5-star rating. I just slipped that in there. Do you have anything you want to share about being plus size and fertility?
Um, well, like I mentioned before we started recording, I don't have a lot because I have tried not to get pregnant since I became sexually active.
Yes.
Um, I will say that a couple things. Fat or not, 1 in 4 pregnancies do end in a miscarriage. And I didn't learn that until another one of my friends had a miscarriage a few years prior to yours. I had no idea it was that high.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of went through the same things at first until she learned, like, what if I did this? Like, what if I
Right.
had done, because she had went on a hike that day or something. Like, what if I hadn't done that? And it really is not anyone's fault. It just happens.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is both a relief, but it's like trying to put myself in the shoes of someone that has one. Like, I feel like it's both a relief and really sad because it's not your fault, but it's also you have no control over it. And
Yeah.
that really sucks. Um I have had, as far as like contraception and stuff, like birth control, I know a lot of people that have not had good experiences. Thankfully, I've had pretty decent ones. The pill, like whenever I first got on birth control, I got on just like the regular old pill.
Mm-hmm.
I was a crazy person though. Like I was also toxic back then, but like when I had my period, it was seriously, it felt like I was like someone else. Maybe I have PMDD. I don't know. But like I would like rage cry, and it was like the type of crazy where I'd get mad at my boyfriend at the time and like emotionally push him away and then be like, "No, don't leave me."
Oh,
Like it was bad. Like we weren't compatible, but
right.
I will hand it to him, like that was a lot to cope with. So I do have an IUD now. The insertion sucks. I'm pretty sure I've talked about that before,
Yeah.
but
Oh my God.
um
Ow.
I, depending on how this election goes,
Mm-hmm.
if it goes bad, I might have to look into a more permanent option, but
Yeah.
would like to not go
Yeah.
through that, especially since my insurance sucks.
Right.
But yeah,
God, that's so funny, the differences. Like, you're like a permanent option, and Brian and I are like, we'll move states. Like, that's so funny, the like perspective of like someone that like absolutely does not want kids, and someone that's like, I could have kids, but I also don't want to die in case it goes bad. Like, you know what I mean?
I mean,
Jesus.
That is true. Like, realistically speaking, do I have to go that route at this point? Probably not. Oh, you're coming back. Yay. You're like, okay, you're fully back. It was like you were, the picture was still stuck, but there were still pixels of you like how you are now, and you went, yay! God. And like the picture moved.
I just need to move more. That's all it is. Anyways.
Yeah, maybe that is overkill, because I'm just the type of person that's like, I don't want any fucking risk. Don't you dare. I don't want to have to be faced with that. But I have been having sex for 16, almost 17 years.
Flex.
I have my sex life's old enough to drive, but
oh my God,
I have never had a legitimate pregnancy scare. Knock on wood.
Yeah. Yep.
So I also am of the opinion, like, apparently it's not that hard to not get pregnant if you are careful, you know? So I don't know. I'm not trying to be insensitive to anyone's fertility struggles, but that's just my personal experience.
I don't think you're being insensitive. I think it's there's so many ways. I think education has gotten so much better around fertility, where back in the day it was like, literally, if you missed a pill, like, you're fucking pregnant. Like, and that's just not, my God. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not the case. And now it's like, everyone, like, I think as I was in the fertility community for so long, it's like, you can check your temperature to see if you're fucking, ovulating, dude. Like, there's so many ways to, like,
that shit's crazy,
tell whether or not, like, you're gonna fucking produce a kid, you know? And we wouldn't know that without the education, without the science, without the fucking, you know what I mean? The, like, evolution that's happened. But
that brings up a good point that I thought of earlier. Just real quick, I know we're coming up on time, but I have no idea when my cycle is. Like, when you were talking about the progesterone, like, having been on birth control since I was 17, no fucking clue. I don't get, like, the cramps or the spotting when I ovulate. Assuming I do, I don't know.
Right. How would you?
Yeah. It's like, it's one of those things I feel like you don't find out until you try and have kids, really. Or it's like brought to you as like something else happens, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you can't have kids. Just drop it on you.
Cycle education is amazing, because it lets you know about, like, if you can track what phase you're in throughout the month, you will see, like, why am I this week, am I more active, or why am I more lazy this week, why am I brain foggy this week, like, why am I fucking horny this week? Like, it's literally your fucking cycle. Like,
part of me wishes that, like, I could go off of birth control, and that's what's stopping me. The fear is stopping me.
I mean, like,
or even like ways to track your cycle, because I always want to, like, there's so much stuff out there about, like, how your thyroid affects everything, and like I went down a rabbit hole earlier, and even symptoms like perimenopause and stuff. There's nothing really there that's like, how does it look if you have perimenopause and you're on birth control already, or if you have an IUD or any of that stuff. I would love to have more information about that, but I just don't think it's there.
Yeah, there's a lot. Even like with GLP-1s, you run the risk of perimenopause. Like, literally.
Oh, Jesus.
If you do Ozempic, like, there's been like women that did Ozempic instead of Mounjaro, because Mounjaro is more for like PCOS and stuff. Right. They're similar, but they are different. Ozempic has like caused perimenopause. Like, I literally know someone in my life I'm very close with that was on Ozempic, and they're like one of those people that were like, I just want to lose 50 pounds, and I got prescribed it. I'm like, okay.
And it put them into menopause. That's crazy.
They put them into fucking menopause. They already have their kids, but it's like, damn, dude, like, someone like me that wants children.
Right. That's what I was just thinking.
Uses the tool, gets fucked up. You know, it's like, there's a risk no matter what. There's literally a risk, and there's not enough. We don't know. Like
Yeah.
it's like this, you know what I mean? Like it's so new. Like who
Mm-hmm.
knows? Especially with someone that has like thyroid like concerns. Like
Yeah.
it's like they have to watch me extremely closely because of my Hashimoto's. It was almost like I wasn't even gonna get prescribed it. Like
Oh wow.
but like my T panel came out really well. So like it's like a whole thing, but it's expensive because insurance, right? Luckily we have insurance, doesn't cover everything, but like again, we get back into like medical privilege, either financially or weight wise. Like there's always like some sort of, you know.
Totally. Yeah.
But if you are plus size, I can feel myself getting back on a rant, so I'm gonna stop because there's so much. I could literally talk about the subject for hours.
If we get a good response, we could have a second episode and talk about it some more.
True. Let us know if you want to hear about this more. If you are plus size and you are seeking support or community, we're Reddit people, so there is a Reddit subreddit called r/plus size pregnancy. So this is for plus size individuals. This is a place where you could ask questions, get help, just rant if you need to. It's like supposed to be a pretty safe space for plus size people that are pregnant, and I just wanted to put that in the episode so you could have it. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Hayley, take us out.
All right. Well, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads at Plus Size Section, on TikTok at the Plus Size Section. Please give us a 5-star rating and like and share and leave comments, I guess, on our podcast now. I think that's a new thing on Spotify.
Oh, hell yeah.
And also, but be nice in the comments or I'll find you. If you're not dissuaded by that, you can send us stories about your plus size pregnancies or your plus size anything related to those organs, honestly, at the plus size section at gmail.com.
Yes.
Right? Okay. That's it.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.